Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Laststandgamers, and welcome. So today we're taking a look around this beautiful ship from the Steam Workshop. Now, this is the Intrepid created by Hyperschnitzel, and I have to say it's a perfect example of a space-ready, super functional ship with everything you need, but without any of the thrills and bells and whistles that people tend to stick on. So first off, let's have a look around the exterior. When we met by the front of this ship, we have two very important features. We've got ourselves the camera as well as the 4 missile bays. Now, something I really like that Hyperschnitzel's done in this case is he has added these little doors to each one of the missile bays to add a little bit of protection, and this also helps in saboteur situations in case your ship's docked and you've turned off its weapon systems, of course, because you don't want it to shoot other people in that friendly or public docking situation, and then someone comes to sabotage it. Now, another great feature here is how he's tucked these little engines on either side. So we've got two big thrusters both sides, but they've been tucked behind this armor. And to keep that silhouette small, so if you can see when I'm looking at it from the front, it makes a very small target to actually present. You can see how he's had to work or be quite creative with his armor. So as the armor wraps around this top area, we've got ourselves some cut down rotors, of course adding a little bit of detail, and then the armor wraps down the side where we've got some blast blocks. That'll add a little bit of protection to the central core, as well as an access door from the side. Nicely protected, of course, by an interior turret. Keeping your protection up is very, very important. So coming a little bit lower down, we've got ourselves two thrusters, as well as this ribbed sort of area at the bottom here. So you can see it kind of stems out from the bottom, creates this really nice effect. And he's also just painted it white so it contrasts with the upper part of the hull. Very nice idea. Now, as well as detail, as we come across here, you can see he's used these blast door blocks that of course are adding weight to this ship, but at the same time they're adding a level of protection that's very, very important to it. So we come a little bit further back and we meet and greeted by this lovely little window here. So we've got the window, and it's finally done the right way around. Creators that put the window behind the doors, then you can't access the actual doors themselves. So that is the nice way of doing it. Adds a bit of protection, stops people from trying to creep inside as well. So coming a little bit further down, we actually have our landing gear module there, wrapped in a lovely load of armor. You can see how it's been staggered up, and it doesn't tend to follow any sort of particular curve across the whole ship. It just rides up and down over the different lines. And just look at this little pod area that he's put on the side here. He's got the two yellow blast door blocks, and then he's just readied up this area and cut down some catwalks to create that detail on either side of the entrance to this door. So coming a little bit further back, we have the turrets on the top. That's of course a Gatling gun turret, and on the side we have ourselves a missile turret as well as a Gatling turret on the bottom. So all round great protection. Now, very important, we have ourselves a docking clamp. So this is great for docking smaller ships to this vessel as well as docking it to port. And you can see, more importantly, we actually have a camera, so you don't have to try to do it all fiddly in third person and constantly miss or even damage your connector. Now, as you come to the back, we have one of the more exposed areas. We have the oxygen generators on the outside. That some people might say is a little bit dangerous, but at the same time, it's not a super priority as long as you've got tanks or other alternatives inside to actually provide yourself with. And as we come around the back, we've got that 3 hydrogen thrust pack that is going to be extremely efficient on a ship of this size. That's going to propel it away or into combat at rapid speed. And you can just see this little catwalk that is put around the side as well. Obviously you can't access it unless you're climbing around on top, but a nice little idea nevertheless. So if we just wrap around the final area underneath, you can just see that it's 2 hydrogen thrusters on either side, quite lightly propelled, but you can see the thrusters have been spread out across the design because this ship is going to be staying in space. With this sort of thruster cell, it's not going to be going down to planets. Anyway, let's open up the door and we'll go inside. So we've got ourselves a nice little airlock here. We'll access our legs, turn them on, and you'll notice just how compact this design is. We'll start at the rear, and then we'll work our way forward. There's something about a compact design that's also very well laid out, and it follows a very typical design where everything follows down one catwalk. So we've got the remote control block right at the back of the ship, so it won't be taking damage if you do lose your control seat. And then we have our little production room, so we've got the conveyors going out either side and then the reactor in the center. Just look at that detail in that section. It's really nice having that reactor out there in the center. And of course, for redundancy purposes, you always need 2 reactors. If one fails, then you're going to need the second one. Of course, there's a door there to access the way out. Now, coming a little bit further forward, we have that windows that these can be closed, of course, in a combat situation. I quite like the animation for closing these at this angle. It feels a little bit more snappy than the doors used to do. feels like it gives it a good crunch when it shuts down. We've got the jump drive there, so we can jump out of a situation. Great to have on a ship, because if you are losing a battle, don't be hesitant to hit that jump drive and just get yourself out of that situation. Just do it and you'll live to fight another day. We've got the medbay in this little protected cabin, as well as a little bit of a step area up to these upper decks, as well as the timer blocks and the upper deck here, so you can run the length of the ship in this particular direction, so you can maintain it. And that's the important thing. You've got to have access to some of these corridors to get maintenance up to their areas, or get your engineers refixing, rewelding systems. And of course, we have ourselves a shutter on this deck as well, controlled by a little button drop down. So let's continue moving to the bridge of the ship. We've also got the SAS port side and the starboard exits here, so there we go. Nice to have a few exits on a ship as well. Something that a lot of people neglect is if they have one exit in and out of a ship, they're forever getting bored and they end up just cutting a window into something and leave the ship more vulnerable. So here we are, we're in an armoured type bridge setup. So one of the best ways of doing it, we've obviously got our pistons, starboard, reverse, so we can hit all them. We can do the pistons reverses again, and we can do the shutters on either side as well. So let's actually access the control seat. Let me make sure I've got the right one. Okay. So yeah, we can toggle our gyroscopes on and off with that one, just making sure. Yep, so that's the one we want to control. So there we go. We've got both systems online. I'll access the pistons just to show you what I'm going to be doing with that. So you can see the actual connectors are coming out the side, and that just allows you to connect bigger ships or smaller ships as well. Very nice idea, as long as your pistons don't decide to go crazy. Let's retract them back in. Hit that and hit that again. And let's give this a little bit of a test fire. So gyroscopes currently not on, we need to access them, so gyroscopes are now on, and we'll propel the ship forward. Let's just look at this acceleration. I'm expecting great things from it. So there we go, great acceleration, especially for a ship of this size. It's not too big, so you need great manoeuvrability, because you need to evade them various different shots, and you can see that thruster pack at the back firing, as well as the thrusters underneath. Very nice indeed. Let's try a total turnaround, see how fast we can do it. We'll drop thrust, we'll kick some thrust out to the side as we turn in. Okay, not bad at all. Let's check our slowdown speed. This is the only thing I'm a bit worried about. Okay, it's not too bad because we were travelling in the opposite direction, so the big thrusters are slowing us down. But them two big thrusters at the front might not do the same sort of job. So let's give it a little bit of acceleration in this direction, and then let go, and let's see how fast them big thrusters can actually slow us down. Not bad at all. If the jump drive was wired up and we were in a combat situation, it would be a very, very dangerous little ship. Let's have a look at our rockets just to see what the blast pattern is, and make sure Aaron didn't close up any of them doors at the front. Okay, so yeah, we've got 4 rockets, quite simple. The only thing I'd worry about is if Space Engineers desyncs and it hits the doors in front of the rocket pods, but still, you could do a lot of damage with them rockets before you're taken out. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this build has inspired one of your own, or maybe you want to take this for a spin. There's a link down to it in the workshop below.